Hey folks, Ray from Rainmaker.com here. Today I've got the new Garmin RTL510 combo radar and light. Now this is not the first radar product and not the first light product, but it is the first time they've stuck both of them together in a one little skinny package. You remember the Garmin Varia radar back a couple years ago? Basically it was this thing that they acquired off of a Kickstarter project called Backtracker. Really cool technology. Small pod went in the back of your bike and it detected cars approaching from behind, basically cars that were overtaking you. Cool stuff. It's one of those things that, you know, if I'm on a YouTube video like this, people are gonna go, that's the stupidest thing ever. I just get a mirror for $5 and it all works out fine. And that is true, you can do that. But what I would say is that anyone who has a radar that's actually bought it and used it says it's pretty darn cool, including myself in certain situations. I've yet to find like someone who is upset with the radar that's actually bought it. I think most of the comments I see on the internet, people have never bought it and just think it's stupid. And so with that little like preface there, let's talk about what it is. So down here on my bike is the radar. It's this little red thing that's all lit up right there. So if I go ahead and yank it off, it's covered in dirt out here and mud and whatever. So this is the radar here. Now what's different about this one compared to the past ones, in the past it was like oriented like this and it was a square looking thing, kind of like a small brick on the back of your bike. Wasn't the prettiest thing on earth. They also had the Garmin Light, which went in the back, which looked almost identical to this, but was a light strip all the way down. They've simply taken those two things and squished it into one package. So it's both a bike light and a radar. Pretty straightforward. Now next, this thing connects to your Garmin Edge device. Now before you ask, technically speaking, any company out there, whether it be Wahoo or Design or anyone out there that makes bike computers can actually connect to this. It's a standard ANT+ profile. It's been that way for like a year and a half or so now. So really other companies can do this if they wanted to. Garmin's the only one that's done it thus far. Anyway, so if I put that there and I go onto the head unit itself, so it just simply snaps in using a quarter turn mount, identical to your Garmin, but just sideways. So now I have my Garmin here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pair to it. So what I do is I go into the menu here and I click Add Sensor. Then I go down and I click on Radar, and it finds it. There we go. Click on Add, and I'm officially done. That is just really as simple as it is. Now what you see there is those will be cars approaching from behind. Now in this case, this is one of those rare cases that I've chosen kind of a bad spot, but almost on purpose to do this. You'll see that there is highway traffic back there, and that's being picked up by the radar on the unit itself, kind of like false positives going by. So here's a car right there actually coming up, so you can see the car in the tunnel, and now watch what happens. This is the dot of the car approaching. This has actually worked out awesome. And you can see as it comes through here, there we go, the little dot right there got to the top, and then here you see that phantom false positive again because of all the crazy traffic back there. And that kind of seems to happen a bit more here. But as I go out into the road and where I'm actually normally riding, then it's not really an issue. Now that overlay you saw it popped up there shows on every single data page. No matter what data page you're on, that will pop up. You can change whether it's shown on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. And then when there's no cars at all, it just disappears and you get this tiny little icon on the top right-hand corner there. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use. You get color coding based on the cars approaching. So normally it's like an orange or a yellow color, meaning heads up, there's a car behind you. If you get the dreaded red color, that means the car is approaching incredibly fast. So for example, if I was out on the highway there, it'd just be all red. But most of the time it's just kind of this yellow, like heads up at the cars behind you somewhere. And you can just follow the dot until it passes you and off you go. If you have multiple cars, it'll track multiple cars. The next question is, what about cyclists? It kind of depends. Most times it does not track cyclists that like in a group of like a Peloton sort of style group, you won't see that. Where I do see some cases, if someone is overtaking me, it'll show up as like a false positive, usually about 10 meters out. They'll pop up on the screen for a second and they'll disappear again. What this is looking for is cars that are traveling faster than you, primarily, or large objects. So mopeds, almost every single time it detects a moped, no problem. But if the moped then starts becoming like right next to you and kind of evens out its pace, then at that point in time, it may just disappear again. So it's not perfect, but I would say it's almost always like, it always sees stuff. Whether or not that stuff is there is different. Additionally, this is pretty much totally useless in the city for the most part. So when I lived in Paris, for example, the old version, I would never use it in the city. It was totally useless for that. Where it's awesome is these roads like this, where you may be just out by yourself chugging along, a car comes back and you just got to be kind of snap back to reality. Of course, here in the Dutch countryside, like there's bike lanes everywhere and drivers are super friendly towards cyclists, so I don't really have to worry as much, versus in most of the places in the world, you have to kind of worry more. Where I found it even more useful is the mountains, actually. So I was down in Austria last year doing some cycling, or the year before, something like that with the radar, and it was great because I couldn't necessarily always hear the car because of the way the mountain turns and stuff, but this would actually pick it up before I could usually hear it, which was kind of cool. And I also found in that case the drivers there are a little crazy in the mountain passes, so it was nice being able to go ahead and see those. So here is, by the way, a group of cyclists. It actually picked it up because it's a big enough group coming up the road here that it looks just like a peloton or a car, which I think is fair. Given how big this group is here, then I would say that this is about right. But it even cleared it right there, and that's that. I'm just gonna stay and do my videos from this spot all day long. Like, this is great. I got the cars coming out of the tunnel just randomly. I got cyclists. I can show everything in one shot. I don't have to like go and ride it all, but I will. So let me show you what it looks like out on the road here. We got a car about approach. There we go. Boom, it just locked in the back there. So you'll see it's coming up here. A bit fast actually, so it went into red. And there's the car. And now you see it's back to green again. It's all clear, and then the green goes away. Again, super straightforward. It does not show cars approaching from the front. It is rear facing only, so you're only going to see things that are overtaking you. Nothing coming up from the front will show up here, so let's see if I get a car to show up coming from the front to demonstrate that. Okay, so you can see those cars are coming up there towards me, approaching from the front. Nothing on the unit itself. Again, car, unit, car, unit. So again, nothing coming up in the front shows up, which is kind of nice. It's nice that it's fairly discreet though, so like right now where there's no cars behind me, you're not going to see anything on there, just that tiny little thing in the right hand corner. Also, from compatibility standpoint, it works for just about everything out there that Garmin makes from a head unit. So even like the cheapest head units they have are compatible with it, which is kind of cool. Okay, so the final thoughts on the new RTL510. Overall, it's good. I think I like it. It's a nice little combo dish of a light and a radar. It's just a lot cleaner looking design, if nothing else. It doesn't look so fugly. It looks kind of integrated and sleek and slim, and it works just fine. Sure, there are some like false positives and stuff, usually for just like a second, typically in the outline or the situations I outlined earlier. I haven't had any like negative positives, any missed cars, put it that way. So it is always seeing the cars. 3 weeks of riding now, I've never had a car like sneak up on me, which is great. It's just the phantom bicycle and stuff like that that makes you think for a split second, then it goes away. All's good. So yeah, I think, you know, if you're looking for a bike light, it's not a bad deal at all. That there was traffic on this road, 2 cyclists. So thanks for watching. Go and knock that like button if you found this interesting, or the subscribe button. There's plenty more content coming out this week. This week is Sea Otter. Lots of good stuff on the way. My bike is loaded with stuff that you can't see right now. That's coming up here. I'm really excited about this week, so have a good one.